Hey everybody, Dr. Mark here. Thanks so much for joining me on this live. Today, I'm going to give away a copy of the book. I see some comments already in the chat, which is amazing. I'm going to tell you how you can get in the running to win one of these books. I'm going to raffle one off by the end of the live today. Shouldn't take too long, about 15 minutes. High Intentional Living. Hey, you got to tell me your name as well. Lucy Healthy Living. Thanks for purchasing the book. I'm excited for you to get your hands on it. And let me know how you find things. Jen, thanks so much for tuning in. You've purchased the book. So if you win the raffle today, I'll make it up to you in some other way, without a doubt. So excited to do that today. How we're going to do this is, first off, in order to put your name in the raffle, I need you to write in the chat that you want a copy of the book, as well as just ask me a question about some sort of the process around how to start nutrition coaching. If there's something that would help you get started or something you've been wondering, I want to answer it on this live to help give back, answer questions about nutrition coaching, and then put you in the raffle as well. As the names come in and the questions come in, all that type of stuff, I will do a random name selector thing here, put the names in a wheel, raffle it off, and then we'll go from there. Go to wheelofnames.com is where I'm going for this. And once I have all the names, we'll go from there. You'd still love a book though, Jen? You got a book. If you win, I'll send you another one. You could give it away. You could pass along to a friend or something, but I'll find a way to make it up to you. So for those of you who've already tuned in, Lucy as well, I know you've purchased one. I'll make it up to you. I know you've already purchased one as well. Same thing. Can find a way to make it up to you. But guys, ask me a question about that to get in the running for a copy of this, which you can find on any Amazon website, sent to you in 2 or 3 days. It is a step-by-step nutrition coaching manual. We got the science of nutrition here, specifically on like how to apply it to coach someone else. It's not just general knowledge. It's all about how to actually take the things that are important, the variables within nutrition, how to manage them, how to prescribe them, how to put it into a coaching model, as well as like how to create an actual coaching system, how you need to correspond, how you check in, how you set up your business, and then the actual process of attracting paying clients as well. We put that at the beginning of this book because without paying clients, you're just a nutrition enthusiast. You don't got a business. You just have a hobby. So we got to do that first to get a sense of like where will these people actually come from. And it's not all that different. Olympus Fitness and Nutrition says, good book. I keep going back through it every week for reminders. That's amazing. What are some of those reminders? And I'd love to hear your name as well, Olympus Fitness and Nutrition. So I don't just call you by your business name, but so we can chat here. But I'd love to know those reminders. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for buying the book. Means a lot. I'm glad you're benefiting from it. Let me know if you have like one big thing that's a good reminder that you keep going back to. Jeet Bat says, how to coach client. Perfect. I see the questions coming in now. How to coach client for habit and behavior change when it comes to nutrition. Like, should we get aggressively or slowly change habits? These are, in terms of how to approach this stuff, there's conflicting ways of doing it. Things that are like, one way or the other. In my experience, if I'm coaching someone and they've come to me for a result, and the result being like, if you can get results in your coaching business, you will stay in business, you will make money, you will help more people. It is a results-driven business. So those results are important. So doing things too slow at times that don't, in a way that doesn't keep people bought in because they can't see it working, isn't always helpful. To me, we've got to kind of find a balance between being aggressive enough so that they see results and they stay motivated without sacrificing the long term. So like weight loss, for example, going way too fast, that's not going to be helpful, but they need to see some results. If I just tell you and get you to do some habits that could be helpful for you, but don't produce results in the beginning, even if they would in months, it's going to be tough for us to strike that balance between these two things. I remember the example that I always give is when I was young, I was like 5 or 6 years old, I started karate. And I started karate because I really wanted to get into, I had that image of cracking the board with like a karate chop, right? You like chop it, the board breaks, that kind of stuff. I remember thinking, okay, awesome, Dallas. I'll get to that in a second. Thinking like I'm gonna chop this board. It's gonna be exciting. In the first 2 weeks of karate lessons, we just sat in a circle and talked about discipline and stuff. And I never got a chance to, take a run at this board. I don't think I continued on. I think I was like, Mom, this is boring. I can't do it. And it probably would have been one of those things that changed my life and done a lot of good for me, but I couldn't see what was in it for me from the beginning. So for our clients, we got to strike a balance between being aggressive enough so that they see results and keep them engaged without sacrificing the long term. So short answer, don't be afraid to be aggressive because it's in their best interest to see some results, but not so fast that it throws everything out. Okay, we got some more questions here. I hope I don't say this name wrong, but I might. Rhiannon? Oh man, I know. As soon as it came out of my mouth, I think it was wrong. You can tell me if I can pronounce it better. But you say, what is the easiest way of catching the attention of possible nutrition clients? Your first 5 to 10. Rhiannon. Okay, Rhiannon. What is the easiest way of catching the attention of possible nutrition clients? Your first 5 to 10 paying clients are going to come from your social circle. You just need to make it obvious to those people that are already looking to you as someone that's like into this stuff, could be helpful, could help them, could be a coach. You just got to make it obvious that you're a coach for hire. So I would create some messaging around, I'm opening up some coaching spots in the introductory rate. The first 5 people are going to get it at this cost. Reach out to me, or making it obvious and around like telling client stories. The client that come to me, this is what they were dealing with. This is what we did. If this sounds like something you need help with, I currently have coaching spaces available. You just need to do things that make it obvious that there's an opportunity. Everyone overcomplicates this part around, what should I do? Should I some marketing messaging or like an automation funnel or anything like that? If I had any advice to you, it's just find ways to make it obvious that people can hire you. And you can do that through like just simple text-based stuff that's like, I'm taking on clients. This is what I'll help you do, and all those things. Hope that helps. Jen says, I'm finding it very hard to put myself out there on social to try to get clients and just get my business started. I fear judgment from family, friends, or strangers in general. This is very, very common. Like, it's one of those things where it personally has held me back for the longest time. I know it holds so many of you back. I think what needs to happen is that your desire to want to help people and make money doing this stuff needs to be greater than the people that aren't going to pay you, like the thoughts and perceptions and judgment of the people that aren't going to pay you ultimately, because they're just not going to do it. So what I would do is just tune them out and do it anyway, because you realize that like those people that have those judgments, and even if they aren't true, but if they are true, like they're not going to help you with this stuff. So why are you wasting energy? They're not going to hire you. They're not going to be supportive. Why are you wasting any energy on, on pleasing them by staying small and any of that stuff? So you got to find ways to break through that. And to me, I think the connection was once I finally realized that those people weren't going to help me, and I was doing things to appease others that didn't fall in line with the vision I had for my coaching and myself. It's just so much easier, because like those people don't matter. Not going to do it. Dallas, who I did talk to 3 months ago or so, I'm trying to get some social media content down in a scheduled way that works with me with several jobs. Totally understand. I think the easiest thing you can do is just like try to document the things that are in the stories that are all around you, so it doesn't take a bunch of time. So, I mean, like, for example, it's saying like, hey, I just got off a call with Talking Nutrition Coaching with a bunch of like-minded people. Here's one thing I took away from it, right? Like the things that you're already thinking, just get in the process of documenting that stuff. as well as you have a real strong personal story. So diving into that, I think would be helpful. Bajola says, you got 2 questions here, which is amazing. Hey, Mark, how do I get clients if I'm just starting and don't have any transformation pictures of any clients, just myself? I tried to coach somebody for free, but they don't put enough effort into it. We have a student in our program right now that hadn't worked with any clients before, but had her own personal transformation story. And she posted about her own transformation like almost every day for like a week. And what happened with it and the pictures and that kind of stuff. And she's like up to 10 paying clients now, because people, even if they don't see it with others yet, they see that result. And for so many people, they struggle with those results. They struggle with those results, and they can, when they see someone else do it, they want to be involved with it. So as great as testimonials are, your own personal story is strong enough. You probably just got to put more reps into documenting and sharing it more often. The downside with getting some free coaching experience from someone that isn't paying you is that if you don't have clear expectations around what you'll get out of it, like obviously they're getting free coaching, so they have an idea of what that'll be like. But you got to say like, hey, I need you to take this seriously. I need to get some feedback from you after the 1 month point. Ideally some transformation pictures. We need to treat this like you are paying, so you pay attention and you do all the things. Like you got to really frame that stuff out that way so that they do take it seriously. Also keeping in mind that those who pay attention. So maybe next time you do it, it isn't for free, but it's a nominal fee. And they know that it's less money than it is, right? So it's like my nutrition coaching typically costs $250 a month. As I'm getting this going, I wanted to extend it to you at a discount, a substantial discount, or even like a substantial lower fee. Probably don't use the word discount. At $150. Like, how does that sound? So they know like what it costs normally. They feel like they're getting taken care of. They feel like they're getting, they're treated specially, that type of thing. And then you can go from there. Jen says, I also recently just got my menopause certification based on your video, but yet I still feel like I'm not credible enough. I guess this is just mindset. Yeah, Jen, I got to be honest. It sounds like you're getting in your own way, unfortunately. And the best way to build confidence is to get started. And I think just knowing that, like, I can say this almost with certain confidence, is that the people that are going to reach out to you for coaching, they haven't found me yet. They're not going to reach out to me. You almost owe it to them. You owe it to them to show up in a way that is helpful, would be the biggest thing. Because they're not going to find anyone else. And if they do, it's going to be it's going to be a worse experience. So you almost owe it to them, because someone else isn't going to take care of them like you will and know what you know, and you're living this life. So you got to put yourself out there that way and start to build confidence through this process. Okay. And you also, Ree and Nunn, I already answered your question, and I feel like I'm gonna get your name now, which is amazing. I said Bajola before, but if it's like Bayola or something along those lines, you'll have to tell me. But I'm gonna also start putting some of these names. In a second, I'm gonna answer how to coach people that don't want to track calories at all. Who else we got? Jeet says your nutrition tracking sheet is helping me. Great help with Trainer Eyes. Amazing. So happy to hear that, Jeet. Who else we got here? I got Dallas under here already. Intentional living. And Lucy, healthy living. As you guys are hearing this stuff too, and you're getting some of the answers, please hit that like button. It makes the actual video go further, as well as if you're watching this and you haven't dropped a comment yet and you want to get in the raffle for From Passion to Profit here, ask a question about the nutrition coaching process. Okay. Now back to our Q&A here. How to coach people that don't want to track calories at all. Tracking. One of the best things you can do. You finally manage the aspects of your nutrition that are going to be directly linked to results, like fat loss, weight loss, muscle gain, athletic performance. Like if you're controlling for the checks and balances of how our nutrition influences that process, you're going to get better results. But people don't always see it that way. They see it as work. They see it as something that may or may not be necessary. You need to approach it like it's necessary. So what I would do is, like, what you have to do is get those people to see why it's in their best interest to track their calories. Because if they don't, they just think that you're someone that's asking them to do something that's like homework. So you always want to tie it back to the result. So it's like, hey, I mean, keep in mind, you came to me to lose 15 pounds before the holidays, which is an amazing goal. And you're well on your way. But the best way and the most effective way for you to get there is going to be to control for the things of your nutrition that matter. So I know you don't want to track your calories, but if we get going on this and you realize it's not as much work as you think, it's going to put you in the best possible position to reach that goal, and even faster than you expected. Is that worth trying for a week and then getting into the groove and approaching stuff that way? Anytime we ask someone to do something, we need to get them to see why it's in their best interest to go down this path. Okay, Thea says, how to manage coach people that have trouble getting on the scale. Oh man, just like the scale is such one of those things that is so anxiety inducing for so many people. I think I like to explain it in a bunch of different ways. Number one, it's just one metric that gives us some sense of how things are going, especially when it comes to body composition changes. That number doesn't, how it compares to what you think it should be or where it is completely irrelevant. Like, it really doesn't matter, or comparing it to someone else, because everyone's going to be different. And all that really matters is like your number over time and the averages of that number and how they change over longer periods of time. Using the scale is incredibly helpful because it's accessible for most, right? It gives us an idea of how things are moving with body composition. It isn't the only indicator. Someone, can assess how they're looking, how their clothes are fitting, measurements, all that type of stuff. But that takes more work than just getting on, getting on the process and kind of going from there. But there's they need to see why it's not something that they should compare with anyone else, and it's just their number. It's like almost looking at your bank account, right? I wouldn't just open my bank account and see what's in my checkings or my savings account and compare it to someone else. Like, there's not much context to that, right? But what would be helpful for me on an individual level is looking at my bank account through time, knowing how it changes, knowing that, on the 5th of every month, my mortgage comes out and a bunch of money goes away, which would be the same thing as going to eat a salty meal and then getting on the scale the next morning. I know it would be higher. I know there'd be a sudden change, but it's the trends over time that are going to give me some sense of how things move. So that's how I'd really like to explain it to people as number one, this is important for you to do because it's going to help you get better results. I know that you don't like it. I know that it's scary, but you need to keep in mind that this is a number that's only applicable to you. It doesn't mean that you should compare it to anyone else because it's not going to be helpful, but it is going to give you some long-term insight into how things are moving, especially as we take the averages to it. The more we can get comfortable taking that number and get closer to that number and realize it's just a metric, the better place you'll be in. Hope that makes sense to you. Let me know if that's helpful, if you have any follow-up questions or anything along those lines. What is your conversion rate for coaching? Meaning, how many people from the potential clients who fill out the questionnaire actually make a purchase? If you're using the Dr. Mark Method, free nutrition report process, you should probably be around 50% people filling out the actual application form and converting them. If they go through the process of tracking and then use our process to present to them the path to results through the actual report process, it should be probably closer to 75%. Especially as the more people that within that process, they're not random, they are from your social circle, that number should be probably a little bit higher because there's so much of this already baked into the process. Now, as you grow and the bigger you get and that type of stuff, and the more people are maybe acquaintances or people you don't necessarily know, that number may came down and you might need to work on your sales skills would be the only thing. But I hope those numbers are helpful, because then once we have those numbers, especially again, those are just general numbers, but you on an individual basis, maybe you can start to see that, hey, I've got to work on how I'm explaining these things. Or I got to work on my conversion rate, which means I got to get better at sales, or, hey, My sales are great if I get to the people to this process, but I got to work on getting people to fill out the application more so that I can get more numbers through and kind of go from there. Okay. Rhiannon. Cool. Right now I got Dallas, Bajola, Jen, Jeet, Intentional Living, Lucy, Healthy Living, Thea, Rhiannon on here. Does anyone else have any other questions? Or if you're watching this and want to get involved in the actual raffle for this book, which I'm going to do in a few minutes here, drop a question in the chat. Okay, that's what you got to do. I'm going to send one out to you directly, a hard copy of this book. The reviews of this have been amazing so far. If you haven't reviewed if you purchased the book, you haven't reviewed it yet, give us a review. That would be helpful too. But I've had people saying that like this clarified so much of the nutrition coaching process for me. I've learned more in the few weeks I've read it than I have previously, and kind of go from there. Someone told me they couldn't put it down, which was like amazing. I kind of was very flattering, but I also kind of laughed a little bit. What else we got here? Okay, Thea's got another question, which is great. Thea says, how long would you typically work with people? No, there are phases to help people through, though generally. On average, most clients are going to stay with you between like 4 and 7 months for the most case. If I like crunch the numbers, that tends to be true. But there's also, there's exceptions to that as well. Like I've had clients that have worked with me for up to 5 total years and that type of thing. And through that, we're working through different phases. I think there is a huge industry myth that like you help people and coach them and give them the right habits and help them develop those habits and they're good forever. And, you can release them into the wild and then they don't need you anymore. People like accountability. They like chasing a new goal. They like the relationships. There's no reason why they can't pay you for longer periods of time. Like keep that in mind as well. But generally it'd be around like 4 to 7 months. And that's also why we like to, especially as people get started, sell our services on a month-to-month recurring basis, because then we can work with people for 4 months instead of 3, or we can work with them for 7 months instead of 6. And that helps us, transition them to the other phase or spend more time working them out of tracking or switching from, a deficit and a weight loss phase to maintenance calories and something that's like a bit more sustainable would be the biggest thing. So that's generally how it works. Anyone else have any other questions for today before we get to it? I'm about to hit. How do you change your fee structure for people who need less support? That's a great question. I would say that you should be compensated for your coaching based on the results you provide and not necessarily the level of support. So that means that your coaching should look very similar for everyone and how you deliver it. And how you deliver it. But just because someone needs less support doesn't mean that they should be paying any less. There's probably an argument to be made that they should be paying the same, because it's going to probably lead to better results. And they're not paying you for the support or the hours it takes. They're paying you because you can help them deliver a result, which sometimes means doing less, which sometimes means being more specific and focused and taking things out of their way and getting them to do less. Like that's the coaching process, right? The coaching isn't how much you do. It's how effective you are at getting a result. Jen says, do you also help personally train your clients, Dr. Mark? Yeah, in some cases, like without a doubt, I do. I have a strength coaching background, powerlifting background, that kind of stuff. For the longest time, my nutrition clients came from the powerlifting world where I was helping them, cut for weight class sports. So that's what I had been doing. Okay, let's get the raffle here. I got all the names in here. I'm about to do it. Here we go. I got Dallas, Bahola, Jen, Jeet, Intentional Living, Lucy, Healthy Living, Thea, Rhiannon, and I'm about to hit enter. And I got Rhiannon as the winner. There we go. Guys, thanks for contributing today. Rhiannon, congratulations. I'm going to send you a copy of the book. What I do need, Rhiannon, is for you to send me an email at mark@drmarkmethod.com so I can get a hold of your physical shipping address and email address and all that stuff to make sure this gets over to you. Outside of that, if you guys haven't picked out the book yet, thanks for contributing. I didn't get a chance to make it up to anyone, unfortunately. I was hoping Jen or Dallas or even Lucy, we could do that for you, but there will always be a next time. Okay. Outside of that, we're going to leave her there for today. Let me know if there's anything else, and appreciate you guys' support. If you're watching the replay and you have any questions, drop it in the chat and we'll go from there. Okay. Take care, guys. Bye.